Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I have a dear friend of mine. We met so many years ago, Lisa Sundstedt. She is the founder of Pretty Funny Women, which was a showcase that so many of us girls did coming up. Myself, Chelsea Handler, Sarah Colonna, Tig, Natasha, Leggero, so many. And now you actually run an actual school called Pretty
Yes.
Funny Women, kind of like the Groundlings or any other acting school that really is a great way for women to get into comedy, or if you already have a set and you want to pursue it and need that support system.
Yes.
It's like a gym for stand-ups.
It is. I have a studio that I opened in West Hollywood.
That's awesome.
It's right on Melrose in the center of the action.
That's great.
And I've probably had over 1,000 girls graduate.
That's
Since
great.
I've been teaching since 2006.
Yeah.
You know?
It's awesome.
Thank you, Heather.
And so we met doing that show.
Pretty Funny Women?
Yes. I think you came up to me, and because somebody else had done a show called Pretty Funny or something.
Uh-huh.
And you were like, I do a show called Pretty Funny Women. I'm doing it a really long time. And I'm like, okay, well, let me do yours or whatever. And then we really hit it off. And we did I did a bunch of your shows with the girls. And then I kind of stopped doing stand-up, and I've told the story a lot of and I was like, I got to get back into stand-up. I'm watching Last Comic Standing. Now I have both my boys had been born, and I was just kind of like, oh, I guess I'd have to write a whole new act. Should I take a class? Should I do a one-woman show? What should I do? And just the next day you called me out of the blue, and you'd ran into some old manager or my manager at the time or something. And you're like, you were one of my best girls. I can't believe you quit stand-up. And I'm like, I didn't quit stand-up. And you're like, well, hasn't it been 7 years?
I remember coming over to your house for dinner and talking you back into coming back on the scene and doing my show.
Yes.
And Brandon
Yes.
was 8 months old.
Oh, my God.
In his little carrier while we were having dinner, flirting with me. It was so cute.
Oh. And yeah, and I remember as we would talk on the phone a lot about, because I started to get back into the shows. I remember I did the first show I had done in 7 years. Some other old friend called me and was like, do you want to do this Armenian baby shower? And I go, it pays $300. And I was like, you know what? I just agreed to do my first stand-up show in 7 years in August. I'm supposed to do 10 minutes at the Improv in Pretty Funny Women. I better get up one more time. So I wrote I'm working all these jokes. I'm literally testing them on my sister, testing them on Ian Edwards, who was my only stand-up friend besides you that I kept in touch with, which I didn't really keep in touch with you. And I was like, oh my God. So I go to, it was in Burbank, and it was at this hall. And they're like, okay. And
did you do it by yourself, or did somebody
No, I
do
did
it
it by
with you?
myself. So it was an Armenian baby shower. And the pregnant girl was young, so I think she was kind of excited to have it. But all the older Armenian people, they were like, what is this? And so then the guy goes,
English.
what do you want me to say to introduce you? I go, well, the main thing is just that they know that I'm going to talk for a little bit and tell some jokes, but not to talk, especially not not in English or whatever. That would be distracting more than English people talking English for me. So the guy gets up there and he goes, okay, now we have comedian, and you need to, oh, shut up!
Oh, God.
Don't say a word while she's up here. And I'm like, oh my God.
What
So
an
I
intro.
start, hey, doing some breastfeeding jokes and stuff. Taking off my sweatshirt, everyone.
Breastfeeding
So I'm taking
jokes.
yes, and I'm just so, but it was okay, and I couldn't believe I got $300. I was so excited. And so then I did your show in August, and then
You used to bring so many people, too.
thank you.
You were such a great draw.
I was a bringer.
You were.
And then that actually bit me in the ass earlier when I was in my 20s, because every time I get a spot at the Improv, I would invite all my USC friends, my high school friends, my parents' friends, and a couple of the male comedians were like, she's not good. She just fills the room.
Oh, God.
And I was
They're
like,
still
again,
like
why
that,
aren't
by
you
the way.
grateful for me filling the room, you piece of shit?
Yeah.
with like
I know.
delightful people.
You know, male comics are so angry. Do you know what one of the guys that was at an open mic said to one of the girls in the front row? Some of my girls went to an open mic.
Right.
And it was some male comic, and he goes, "If I was the last man on earth, you'd sleep with me, right?" To one of the girls, and she goes, "No." And he goes, "Yeah, you would, because I'd rape you."
Oh, that's...
Can you imagine?
That's hilarious.
Can you imagine?
Do you know what I literally just thought that, though. Before you said that, I thought...
You knew I was going to say it?
No, but I thought, well, if it was only 2 people on Earth, I mean, I guess you could run away. But, like,
God,
if it was really
what
only
could
2
you
people
do?
on Earth, it would be pretty hard to, like, but I don't think that would make you horny being the only person on Earth. I think you'd be pretty exhausted from, like, trying to open a coconut or whatever to get some food. That's my biggest fear on Earth, is to be the only person on Earth.
Really?
Look, I often say the world is probably ending, so enjoy it like every day is your last. If it ends, I'm fine, providing we all go at the same time.
Right.
I just don't want to be left, like, with the zombies or, like, people pounding on my door wanting my food or, you know, like, I don't want to be put in that position. I'd rather just, like, go with everybody else
Yeah.
than, like, try to, like, live in some tube making my own, like, weird, you know, strawberries and finding oxygen or something. I don't want
I
that.
would be the worst. I
Yeah.
don't know how to survive. I don't know how to even set up my remote control on my TV.
I can't even use this Bic lighter to light a candle. I haven't been able to figure this out in 20 years. How you have to push one down and then, yeah.
Does Peter help you with all technology at home, like your
Yeah,
cell
but
phone
now
and
what's
everything?
really nice is that I created 2 other Peters that are my
Oh.
children, and so they don't
Oh,
complain
right.
as much
And they're
when
so
I ask
young.
them, and they're tall and they can reach things, and you lift things.
Yeah.
And so you don't need to bug the Peter anymore. You can find an alternative.
Yeah, I'm constantly bugging Steve. Can you help me? Something
boyfriend?
happened with Matt.
See, still can't. So yeah, if I can't work this lighter clicker thing, this, what do you call it?
You wouldn't even have a lighter if it was
Right,
if you were the
I
last
could-
woman
how
on
am I
Earth.
gonna
You would have
make
to
the fire
start a fire
myself?
with wood, scraping it together, however they did it back
I'd be
in
the
the day.
worst person on an island. But you were the one that also introduced me. This is how long ago it was. And a lot of my listeners are learning about The Secret from me because I talk about it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a big deal, like 12 years ago. Like Oprah had the people on.
Yeah.
And there's actually some movie that's coming out with Jennifer Garner that's based on The Secret.
Really?
It's about, like, she meets some guy and he basically is like, this is how the universe works and you got to, like, put the positive energy out. And
I would see that movie.
we'll go see it together. Like,
Yes.
but yeah, I remember you're like, there's this thing, The Secret. I think you gave me the DVD and I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very interesting about putting, like, the positive things out because I always said, like, our generation of girls, it was always like, don't be conceited, don't jinx it. And, like, The Secret is, like, the opposite of that.
Yeah, you
It's
have to
being
do
like,
positive
I am great.
affirmations.
I deserve to be a star. My entrepreneurial endeavors will make it. Why wouldn't they? Of course they will. I mean, imagine my coffee shop all over the world. Like, you have to do that. But in our time of, like, high school, like, growing up in the 80s, it was always like, she thinks she's a model. Now, everybody is a model on Instagram. And
Yeah.
all the girls are like, you look great, girl. It's like the complete opposite of, like, our female vibe growing up. And I think that's, like, the big difference in a way between, not one of the differences, you know, with younger people.
Yeah. Well,
They don't even realize that they are doing The Secret probably, but they are.
yeah. Well, they're creating their Instagram, which is essentially a vision board.
Oh, yes.
If you look at it, it's like all the different pictures of them
They're just putting themselves
doing
in front
things.
of a private jet.
Yeah.
One day you might have one. In the
Yeah.
meantime, I'm going to act like this one at Burbank on the tarmac is actually private. Wow, that's a really large private plane. I know. Don't look at the Southwest sign on it. Yeah.
Do you listen to Esther Hicks,
No.
Abraham Hicks? Do you know what they are?
No.
Oh my God, Esther Hicks, you would love her.
Yeah.
She channels an entity called Abraham.
Lincoln?
No, they're just
Oh.
called Abraham. They're like a collective consciousness, and she channels them. She goes into like a little spell. They're huge. They're all over YouTube.
What are you talking about?
Abraham?
Who is Abraham?
Esther Hicks.
I know, but
I'm sure a
what-
lot of your listeners know who they are.
Okay, well, who's the entity named Abraham?
It's a collective consciousness that has all the answers to everything in the universe you ever needed to know. So she has every single topic you could ever need answers on. And I've gone and seen her live.
So someone could be like, I'm stage 1 pancreatic cancer. What vegetables should I avoid? And she could tell you that.
Yeah, well, she'll tell you how to deal with it in a law of attraction positive way. She's very much about the law of attraction and manifesting, and she calls it the vortex, where you launch rockets of desire. So, in other words, you have your goals that you want, and then you send them out into the universe, and they go into this place called the vortex, and then you raise your vibration, and then you attract it to you. It comes to you. You've got to listen to her.
You know what's interesting though about all that stuff is when you introduced me to it and I read on it. I've yet to make a vision board. I've never gotten them. I've never gotten them that. I don't have the glue and stuff. I put it in my head and like talk about it. Like I just have never sat down with like the crafts and stuff. But I think it's great, and I think it's a fun thing. I have a friend who goes to it one every year at the beginning of the year, which is really cool to do. You don't have to wait to the beginning of the year, but and what is weird is throughout my life, I would do it without being conscious of it, but I would also like shortchange my secreting. But like I just remember going to the Groundlings Theater, and there was the Sunday show photos, and there was the main company photos. And I remember looking at the Sunday show and going, "Oh, I'll be on that board one day. I know it, but I probably won't be on that one."
So
I literally said it, and I never made.
And you manifested that.
And I never made the other one.
Yeah, because your belief system.
Right. In the end, it's better that I didn't, because that was such like an incestual like vortex that was like I was becoming very obsessive with it. So the fact that they didn't allow me to be in it was probably a good thing for me. So that I had to pursue other things. Just like just like being fired from a job or anything, you might be really upset but then you look, and I always say it may take a while. It may take years. And then one day you'll wake up and you'll go, if that didn't happen and that didn't happen, if that didn't happen, that I wouldn't be here today, and I am in a better place today. But sometimes it takes a very long time, and during that time you may have a lot of regrets of quitting the job or breaking up with a guy or moving, or why did I do that, or why did I say that to my girlfriend or whatever. And but in the end, it's all it is all meant to be. It's just
for our highest good.
Yeah, and so that was a really cool thing that I forever learned from you.
I have a God box.
What's that?
It's a box that you decorate with pictures and images and phrases that make you happy.
Yeah.
And then you cut out a hole at the top. It's like a shoebox that you decorate. And then you write down your prayers or your goals or things you need answers to God, the universe, whatever you call it. And you put it in there, and then you let it go. You release it. You don't go digging in there to see if it's... And you release it. And every time I go into that God box...
How often can you open the God box?
Well, you would just want to go back and look at things from, like, so many prayers I've put in there have all come true.
Really? That's awesome.
And I also made, before I met
Was
Steve...
one of them, one day I'll be on Juicy Scoop podcast?
Well, it's still in the God box. Yeah.
Yeah.
And before I met Steve, I made a list of my perfect man, and I put 30 qualities on there. And I put things that were so specific, down to must love dogs, no allergies, has or wants kids, makes 6 figures, creative, believes in God. I mean, I had everything. Knows how to fix things around the house. And so what happened is, like you said, you shortchanged yourself.
Yeah.
Is I make this list, and I put it in my God box.
Yeah.
And then I start going on dates with losers. So you're giving the universe mixed messages.
Right.
You can't settle for anything less than your list once you make that list and you state it out loud, right?
Yeah.
So I found that I met Steve after I finally decided no more losers. I'd rather be alone.
Right.
And then I was okay being alone, and then I met him.
How'd you meet him?
We met at a party. And the party was kind of boring. And he's like, a bunch of us are going out to Hamburger Hamlet because we were right around the corner from my house.
Right.
And he's like, we're going to go have dinner at Hamburger Hamlet. Why don't you join us? And I was like, okay. And I had such a crush. I thought he was so cute. So I'm driving to Hamburger Hamlet, and I drove home instead. And I pulled into my driveway and I was like, I don't want to go with a bunch of people I don't know. I don't even know this guy. And this voice said to me, you have to go. You said you'd be there. And I was like, okay, because I've heard that voice before, and I feel like it's God or an angel talking
And
to
when
me.
you got to Hammer Hamlet, what did you order?
A hamburger. I mean, no, I got there and
Yes.
he had saved a seat for me. Can you imagine if I didn't show up? And
Well,
then we talked
you would,
all night.
you would, yeah, you would have never. He probably wouldn't have bothered to pursue you. Why would he? You didn't show
Yeah.
up. He's gonna get that message that you didn't like him. You thought he was a creep. You know,
Yeah.
so they're not mind readers. If you're not going to show up, he wouldn't have pursued you.
Now it's been 8 years, Heather. Can you believe that?
That's
I mean,
great.
you know how many guys I used to date and
Wait,
sleep with.
I just remembered a great story of yours I'd like you to tell.
Okay.
You went on a date early in the Match.com
Oh, I know
internet
exactly what you're
dating,
talking about.
and someone seemed great, cute photo. Talked to him on the phone.
He was a lawyer.
Okay, tell.
Really successful.
Yeah.
Super cute. We had so many great conversations on the phone.
Right.
We totally hit it off. We decided to meet for dinner.
Fun.
I said, he goes, let's have dinner. And I go, well, don't you want to just meet for coffee first? Because isn't that what you're supposed to do? Just size them up
Right,
before you. And he was like, no, we know each other. Let's have dinner. And I was like, great. So I get there early and I'm sitting in the restaurant and all of a sudden the door opens and I see this guy walk in and he's missing part of his leg. And he was like, he hobbled in. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how do you not mention this?
Not to disclose it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you should have that on your profile, But he like walked in and he sits down and I was like, I didn't know what to do. And so we're talking and then he goes, I told him I was an actress. He goes, I wanted to be an actor when I was in college, but I thought my leg might get in the way. And then what do you say to that? Like, yeah, what the fuck is with your leg? No, I said, can I cuss?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, really? Leg? What are you talking about? I don't know what you mean.
You acted like you didn't notice.
I act like I didn't know because I didn't know what to do. I was like, what are you supposed to say? Yeah, what is that? What's up?
Now, had he had said when you were talking, like, hey, I have to tell you, when I was 20, this happened. Do you think then you still would have gone on the date, but it would have prepared you better for the date?
Absolutely.
Right.
He was born with one leg shorter than the other. He didn't
Yeah.
have an accident or anything.
Yeah.
He was just born that way.
And did you ever say, like, in the future you should let people know? Because
No, I didn't say anything. I just let him walk me in my car. He said, can we do this again? I go, absolutely. And then I never talked to him again.
so I think that the lesson is in doing these dates, don't waste your time or theirs. If there is something like that could not necessarily be a turnoff, but just so that when you do meet them, you are prepared that,
I felt
they're
bad.
not able-bodied or whatever you want to call it.
I felt bad.
Yeah.
I felt bad for not liking him. I felt like guilty and like, God, what's wrong with you, Lisa? You're being so shallow and superficial. And then I went home and I did a bunch of reading on like why, and it's because as women, we're looking to procreate with a healthy male to have children with.
Right.
And your body just will reject if something like that is going on. And I was like, okay, all right.
I think if he would have told you.
You think
And
so?
I think
He
if
was
would've-
also a lot shorter than his picture.
Well, what do you mean his picture? His picture was just his
I mean,
face.
in his profile, whatever they say. They always say 6 feet or 5'11", and they're like 5'5".
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, not that I'm tall, but I like somebody way taller than me.
Yeah. And I think it's really hard for someone if they're out there and they're dating and, they do have something that needs to be disclosed.
I know.
But I also think that you should, because why do you want to waste your time?
No,
You know,
don't.
like why? And a lot of people wouldn't care. And a lot of people would be like, oh my God, I think it's so cool that right off the bat you said that. And I, want to meet you. But I think because you were so like thrown off, like not expecting that.
Yeah.
And now the minute you're there, like, I'm a terrible person. Oh my God, this is what I was expecting. And now how long am I supposed to stay for the meal? Do I get an appetizer? Let's make it the least expensive meal as possible.
Yes. Yes. It was it's a night I'll never forget.
What Ben Affleck just did this big interview. And, Ben Affleck is Him in The Town is my hottest Ben Affleck. Did you ever see The Town?
No.
Oh my God. He's from Boston, which in real life he's from Boston. And it's like 12 years old. So he's like at his cutest. Okay. And he is a bank robber, but he's an excellent boyfriend. He meets this girl who was the teller when they robbed the bank. And he starts to pursue her to make sure that she doesn't like remember anything or whatever. And
So he was wearing a mask or
yes,
something?
he was wearing
Okay.
a mask, and they fall in love. But then his cheesy, trashy girlfriend, who's Blake Lively, gets real jealous that he's like fallen in love with this girl that like had an actual job, and she like tips off the FBI, and it's just he's so freaking hot and he's so protective of her. Anyway,
What a great movie.
it's
I'd
so
like to see
freaking
this.
good. It's The Town, everybody. Okay, so and you will like want to masturbate while watching it. I mean, he's so hot in it. Okay, so anyway, he, has been with Jennifer Garner, and they got divorced. And so he said he just did this interview. He's been on and off the wagon for years with his alcoholism, and he said that he really regrets leaving his marriage. That's his biggest thing. And all I can think about is like all the women in the world are like, finally, finally. Finally, a man realizes that you made the biggest fucking mistake ever. You have Jennifer Garner out there, selling Chase credit cards and making her own bagels. Who the fuck makes their own bagels?
Yeah.
Always, with her glasses on, pushing her kid on a swing. They're taking him through Jack in a Box before she drives him to rehab. Every time he's with a slut, she picks him up from the slut's house. Like, she's put up with so much, but she doesn't want him anymore. It doesn't matter that he's telling the New York Times that he regrets it. She has moved on.
Is he bipolar?
I don't know if he's bipolar, but he said in the interview that he came from a lot of mental illness. His aunt committed suicide. His mom was a heroin addict. Or what was his mom was a heroin addict. Aunt committed suicide. Dad was an alcoholic that also committed suicide.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a
got
lot of it in
depression.
his,
I thought I read
genes.
somewhere that he's bipolar. But maybe not.
I mean,
I
he
don't know.
could be. He could be. But you have been sober for a really long time.
12 years.
And what was your moment of like, I'm not going to drink anymore?
I met this guy at an SLAA meeting,
What
which
does
is
that
Sex
mean?
and Love Addicts Anonymous meeting. That's the program I was going to first.
Now, is that like, so that is a sex addict?
I was a love addict, so I was addicted to the first 3 months of a relationship.
Which is always the best.
Do you
right?
remember me going like
Yes.
from guy to guy to guy to guy to, and I could never make a relationship work?
Right.
So I was after this SLAA meeting, I meet this guy and he was really cute and we start talking and I brought him home and we had wine and I slept with him and he was full-blown schizophrenic. And I was like, what is this? Has got to be my bottom. Like after we had sex, he said something like, all right, well, I'm going to go. And I was like, you're going to go? And then I was drunk and I made an ass of myself and I was crying and he was like, I got to get out of here. Like when a schizophrenic tells you you're crazy,
Yeah.
that's a problem. So I bottomed out and then I called a friend and I said, can you, take me to a meeting? I think I have a problem. But mind you, I'd been going to meetings prior to that and just sitting in the back and listening. And I liked all the stories and I related to the people. But I never thought I was an alcoholic because I didn't have a DUI. I never went to jail. I never did hard drugs.
I always considered going because I thought that'd be great stage time. And it was so hard to find stage time
Yeah.
in LA.
You do. You get a captured audience.
Yeah.
For
and
3
you work
minutes.
on your bit.
Yeah.
Like Countess Luann from Real Houses of New York, she would practice her bit at the AA meetings, and then she'd go do it in her Countess show. She would. And you can't blame her. It's like you keep telling the same story. You get it down,
Yeah. Yeah.
So now, but you were also, you told me you are bipolar as well.
Mm-hmm. Diagnosed when I was 28.
So but you were still drinking after the
Yes.
diagnosis.
Drinking, not taking my meds, not
And I
listening to
remember
doctor's orders.
When you told me when you realized that you were bipolar, it was one of those things that I kind of was like, you told me the story. And to me, being someone at that time that, wasn't doing all I could be doing in my career, it sounded awesome. You told
to
me
be on a manic high?
Yes, because you said, I realized I'd hit rock bottom when I stayed up for 3 days and wrote 4 plays and like I don't know, I wrote like cleaned your apartment and did like wrote 2 scripts and a one-woman show, and then I realized I was bipolar, and I'm like, can I get it?
Yeah.
Like, because I would really need it. I really need that kick in the ass because I'm a huge procrastinator right now in my life.
Heather, I wrote, produced, and starred in a one-woman musical called Make Room for Lisa. I mean, how crazy is that?
Why? It doesn't sound crazy. It sounds
Make
awesome.
Room for Lisa? That was what I titled it.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know. I think it's corny.
Okay.
But yeah, I was up for 3 months straight on a flying high, and then flying to Vegas and gambling all my money away, and just attracted to every guy I met. I couldn't help myself.
One of the guys you dated was the former co-host of American Idol,
Brian Dunkelman. Yes, who I just saw at the Improv the other night. I was there for Eddie's 40-year anniversary of working there.
Eddie is
Eddie,
the
bartender.
most delightful bartender waiter at the Improv on Melrose. He's so sweet.
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's sweet that they gave him a party. He's still working there, or is he
Yes,
retiring?
he still works there.
So you went there, and
I ran into Brian Dunkelman, and I was like, "Hi, I saw you on that show. You know, what's that show where they make a comeback?"
I just saw that episode too. I came into the very end, but it was basically
A-Rod.
Yes,
host it,
and it was like it's like on like MSNBC or something.
Yeah,
and I saw the very end, and it was like that he was going to get back into stand up or whatever it was. And what was his story?
well, he was trying to be a realtor in the show or something.
Oh, okay.
No.
He's trying to be a realtor. Oh,
yeah. Why he quit American Idol? He quit. He didn't get fired.
right.
Can you imagine? And then having to watch that show every week.
It's because
$18,000 a week is what he started at.
Not enough.
Yeah, he quit.
He held out for 20.
He quit because he didn't like the dialogue they were making him say. He thought it was corny, and he wanted to change the lines, and they said no. And then he said, well, then I'm out of here.
I knew some producers on that show, and they said he was difficult.
Yeah.
Hence, he probably was. He was probably like, I want to improvise. And they're like, no. There's not enough time for you guys to do improvise some shtick. We've got a competition show, and you guys you're not the star, you and Ryan, you know?
Right.
And then they just got rid of him and kept Ryan.
Yeah.
But people were obsessed with this giant entertainment mistake.
Yeah.
Every comedian was, regular people were. He was a punchline. Don't pull a Brian Dunkelman. I mean, it was a warning. There was this other guy that was an actor. He was in a few sitcoms. And I don't know, my manager at the time told me when Ellen DeGeneres, before her show Ellen, which was a sitcom, her first year she had her own sitcom, Ellen DeGeneres, and it was called like These Friends of Mine. And in it, she's a straight woman. She's single. You know, she hadn't come out yet. And she had like a couple, like 2 guy friends and a girlfriend or whatever. And it was kind of like a mini Friends. And one of the guys was just like, I'm a bigger actor than this little small part. They're not featuring me enough. And he's yelling at his agents and everything. And they're like, goodbye. And then they readjusted the show and they called it Ellen. And they kept like the 2 other friends, but they're like, goodbye to him.
Oh, God.
And my agent was like, it was just one of those good tales. I don't know how you'd say it, like warning tales of like, hey, don't think that there's something else around the corner just because this came so easy. I think that's what happens with people in this business.
Yeah.
If something early on in your career comes so easy, and maybe it's 1 or 2
you just
things.
take it for granted.
Maybe 1 or 2 things just really, really easy. And then something is not perfect or it's a little difficult. And you're like, oh, screw this. Don't they know who I am? And you're like, no. Like, this isn't going to continue forever. And you better be grateful for every job you get and not just, you know, and then sure enough, so he quit. And then what happened?
He quit?
You're going back to your story that Brian Dunkelman quit, right?
Yeah, he quit, and then he didn't work. He couldn't get a job.
To bring another host. Of course not. He
No.
thought, oh, I got this one. I'll just be able to get another game show or something.
And then he admits it on that show, the one we can't remember the name.
Yeah.
He admits that he had a problem with alcohol and drugs and gambling.
And
so
when you
that's
guys
what
were
that is.
together, would you partake in that?
He
with him?
gambled. He played poker. I remember he would stay up until like 4 or 5 in the morning and come home, and I'd be like, "What the fuck?" But now I'm a compulsive gambler, so I understand.
You are still?
I am. I have a real problem.
Really? What do you
Yes.
gamble at? What's your thing?
I go to Indian reservation casinos and I play blackjack and video poker.
Morongo?
I go to Morongo every once in a while, but I go to San Manuel
That's your
in
favorite?
Riverside, San Bernardino.
The 909?
Yeah.
And why is that that's the closest one?
Yeah, that's the closest one to us.
Yeah.
It takes
How
about an hour
often
and
do you
10 minutes
go?
to get there. Well, I've quit, and it's been like a month of no gambling. It's such an addictive disease
Yeah.
because you get dopamine, literally releases dopamine into the brain when you're playing video poker and you're like looking at those cards. And plus it gives you the ability to hyper focus and everything else goes out of your brain.
And so how much have you ever lost in one thing? Like one day?
I lost $10,000 in a weekend once.
No way.
Yeah.
So when
I sold my house in Hollywood and lost all the money.
you did?
I did.
But all from gambling.
My mom was a compulsive gambler, and so was her father. So I inherited it, and I have brothers that gamble. I inherited it from her.
And so when you're $4,000 down, $5,000 down, what made you go to 10 and what stopped you at 10?
The ATM. It was right there.
No, and is that what also stopped
What
you at
stopped
10?
me? No, I had taken out all the money I could take out.
That's what
on
I'm
my
saying.
credit
There
cards
was,
and everything.
So if there was
Maxed out
more,
credit
you
cards.
would have gone to 20.
Probably, yeah, because I've lost 5,000 and then won it back in like an hour. So you can go up and down very
Wow.
easily when you bet the kind of amounts I bet. But I've stopped because it's just destroys your life, and my boyfriend hates it, and my friends think it's terrible, and
Yeah.
I don't want to end up like my mom, who had absolutely nothing, no retirement, and now she's in a public state-funded nursing home for Alzheimer's.
Oh, that's awful.
I know, because she had no money.
Oh my God. Wait, I had something else I was gonna ask you about the
I have a myriad of problems, Heather.
at the gambling. Oh, I remember. There was this other comic named Mike Reynolds,
Uh-huh.
and I remember I did a week, my first gig, a week at the Harrison Improv, and he was the opener and I was the feature,
Mm-hmm.
and then the headliners were these two Latino brothers that I just just did the Royal Caribbean I was on this summer.
Really?
Yes, I was sitting in the audience.
I've never even heard of these
my
guys.
son was like, they were just these, now they're doing it with Royal Caribbean, whatever. And my older son was like, oh my God, this is, not my comedy. I'm like, well, yeah, because you've seen my friends and you've seen Joe Coy. And you're like, I go, but these guys, though, I'm like, this is a hard gig. They have
You
to,
have to be
they have to
squeaky
be
clean.
squeaky clean and funny for kids that are 8 until 90. Like,
Yeah.
this is a specific kind of thing. And I'm like, and they were the headliners, and I was featuring for them in Vegas, over 20 years ago. And my kids were like, really? You? Like, they were the bigger names? I'm like, yes, they were, And I remember going, God, but it was the same bits. Oh my God, I remembered all the bits. The
Did
bits
you?
had
They
not
did the
changed.
same bits?
Oh yeah, because it's like that kind of classic, like it was like a back and forth, like one brother's dumb and the other one's like, what's he doing? Like it was like that kind of thing. And like it was just but that comic, the guy Mike, he was into gambling. And he was like, will you go to my one chip graduation at the Gambling Anonymous? And
Oh,
and
he
I go,
wanted you to
"Okay."
come to
so
support
I
him?
went, and there was
They don't give chips, Heather, because people will bet them. They give keychains. And they give
yeah, I guess that makes sense. Okay, whatever. He was getting his thing, whatever
Yeah.
it was. And he's like, oh, this guy is interested in you that's here. And he is a former professional basketball player, and he was pretty good looking. He was white and tall, because basketball player. And well, I get his, I hear his speech. And
Speech.
his speech, his thing about how he lost all of his NBA money, and he, there's no Uber or anything back then, so he would ride his bicycle all the way to like whatever the nearest gambling places in Los Angeles, and has no money and has hit rock bottom. Thank God for the program, and he like went up to Mike and was like, "Would your friend go out with me?" And I'm like, no. I mean, I just heard like everything. Like you have a bicycle. Am I gonna go in? Am I gonna ride in your basket? Like, what? Like I'm glad you're fighting your demon, but like, and so when I turned him down, he was just like furious. Like, what is that snobby bitch got? I'm like, well, not a gambling problem, and I own a car. Like, I was just like,
Oh
I
my
mean, it was
God.
crazy. Let's get into 90 Day Fiancé because this is a show you watch.
And there was a compulsive gambler on 90 Day Fiancé a couple seasons ago.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
I can't remember her name, but she met him in South Africa.
Yes.
And then she moved there for him. Do you remember?
Oh.
Yeah, he was a compulsive gambler in and out of rehab for it.
Wow.
Yeah, and she had a child.
So let's go through the people.
Okay.
First group is Annie and Robert. Annie, I believe, is from Colombia. Robert is an Uber driver who has 5 kids from 4 different women.
Yep.
He has custody of one named Bryson, who looks like to be about 3 or 4.
Who sleeps with them in the bed.
This is Bryson's grandmother, who is absolutely gorgeous, and she is a top porn star. Her name's Diamond Fox. I follow her on Instagram.
Oh.
And her name's Stephanie. Her real name is Stephanie. She has a husband named Ben. Her daughter is the mother of Bryson, but nobody knows where she is, why she's not in the picture. But you said they just pulled up. Oh, you did? Where is it? Hold on. I'm going to find the photo. Okay, wait, we're going to find it in a minute. Anyway, here's all the people. So this is the Bryson. And you guys, when you go to youtube.com/Heather McDonald, we have all the photos and everything. And
Robert and Annie.
this is Bryson's mom. Oh, they just showed her. But we still don't know why she's not in the picture, right? So I assume something's not great with her, but she looks very pretty.
Yeah, very pretty. Very young.
I mean, it can't be easy when your mom is a very successful porn star. But the mom is beautiful. So the mom, she wanted to be a big part of Bryson's life, and Robert included them on this TV show and met Annie, and she was very critical of Annie. She was like, why are you here? Are you going to try to get pregnant? She tried to write her a check so that she would go back to Colombia. And Annie was like, I don't sell my asshole like you do. Like you just spread it for money, but then you judge me, like, go away. Like, I don't even want to deal with you. And what did you think of all of that?
That was a crazy scene. What about when he took her to a thrift store to go shopping?
Well, she took her to the Goodwill, and she did not like that. But then she had all this label-y stuff. She has a Gucci belt. She had a Yves Saint Laurent purse at one point. I mean, I think it's all counterfeit. If they're in Florida, I think it's probably a place you can get it. But she did go to Payless and get shiny red shoes for her wedding.
Yes. Well, he bought those for her, right?
I think he buys everything for her.
Yeah.
She can't work.
But I think there was an episode where she was trying them on.
Yes.
She's like, I want these.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because they had the red accents in their wedding. So, of course, why wouldn't you go for some red shoes?
I'm going to say of all the couples, they feel the most produced to me. I feel like Robert is produced because he'll do. Remember when they went to a strip club?
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't want that around my son. It just felt like the producers were going, tell her you don't want her to be in a strip club. Tell her that you're not into threesomes. Because remember, she was like, yeah, maybe we'd try it, a threesome. And he was like, I'm not doing that. I don't want that around my kid.
Well, I think she's thrilled. Grandma Stephanie is thrilled to be on mainstream TV.
Yeah,
and she really wanted to be a part of it because they said in the reunion that she hasn't seen the kid. And Annie was like, here, she acts like she's his hands-on grandmother, but she doesn't call him every day or see him or anything. And then Robert revealed that at one point, I don't know if it was before Annie came, but Robert had an apartment fire and he was in transition for like 2 months. And Stephanie and her husband Ben didn't offer to help him and Bryson at all, like not with money or where to stay or take the child. And he said, and then luckily I, had friends to stay with, and I had a relative in Atlanta who took the baby, for a while, but they did not help me. So the fact that now they're acting like they're such hands-on grandparents.
Oh, yeah. She wants to be on TV.
Yeah, he wanted to reveal, like, it's fucking bullshit. Like,
Yeah,
I'm fine with you
good.
being around, but now you're not going to tell my fiance that, try to pay her off to leave when she's the one constant besides me in this grandchild's life. Like, where's
Right.
the daughter you raised? She's not around, and then you're trying to criticize Annie. So I actually liked their vibe in it, and I didn't actually think I just agreed. Now, what do you think about Sasha and Emily? Sasha's from Russia, and
And he's one that works out all the time.
he works out all the time. He has 2 other ex-wives with 2 other boys,
Yes.
and then they have the fattest, cutest, chunkiest
yes.
baby boy, like just edible. Like he looks like he's been
He's so
working
cute.
out.
All
The
the
baby does.
all the babies that are born to all these couples are adorable.
Yeah. But what do you think of their potential of making it or not?
I don't think it's good. He doesn't want anything to do with being a father. He wasn't that involved in his other children's life.
Right.
And remember, she was like, you're gonna have to stay home and watch your kid. Well, your family will help with that.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
And then she treated it like he was a pet. She was like, I got him a gym membership. I sometimes take him out to the mall. And she was talking about the husband,
Yeah.
Sasha.
Yeah.
She wasn't talking about a dog or a baby. She was like, I'm trying to fill his days up. I have to work full time. Then I come home and I want to hang out with my baby. But he's like, you need to do some crunches. And I was like,
He's
suck.
very rude to her, and he's very rude to her sister.
Oh, the sister
Staying at the
hates
house,
him.
he's like throwing away their food.
Yeah.
This is crap food.
Crap food. Then we've got Blake and Jasmine. Jasmine's from
Okay,
Finland.
Jasmine clearly hates Blake. She's not into him at all.
Blake got some blue eye contacts for the reunion.
Yes, I saw those.
Just
and
upped his
that
game
was-
a little. I wonder. At first, I thought she hates him and they have no chemistry. But I'm like,
She was hanging all over him
but
at the
maybe,
reunion.
yeah, maybe that's just their vibe. Like maybe she just really is not great TV because she is so mellow and she spends so much time getting ready in front of the mirror. She's made it very clear to his hardworking mother that she never intends on working.
Yes, and maybe she has.
She said, "I'll do
social anxiety.
but she has social anxiety. But she said she'll do social media sometimes,
Yeah,
not if it's a lot,
yeah.
and she'll post once
She
in
has
a while.
no goals. She
doesn't wanna-
she doesn't want to hang out with
Like
her
she'll
friends.
post. She doesn't want to do an Insta story, but she'll do like a post on Instagram. Like don't expect her to do more than that because that's like. And she'll post a photo, but she's not going to do a lot of tagging. She's not going to do a filter. She's not. Don't ask her to go above and beyond people.
And don't you think he's a little bit in denial? Because he's just like, everything's fine. We get along great.
I think he found her. I think these situations are a win-win. I think the show's big enough that if you're someone that wants to be on TV, he's got a music
No, he's getting
business.
promotion.
He's got clients that are under him that he's trying to promote their music. He has his own music. I'm sure he's always wanted to be in front of the camera. So it's kind of like a win-win. You're like, well, here's a way I can get on TV. I've actually am talking to this girl. Hey, want to come out here? We get to be on TV.
That's
We can make it
true.
happen. So it's like a win-win. The beekeepers, I don't know how or
Do you
why
think
they
I'm
decide to be in the
sexy?
show.
She's
They
like,
have no reason of like how they want to be on the show. And it was like this photo was so weird because a lot of people have said in the nicest way, is he not all there mentally? It's not necessarily just a language barrier. He seems slow, like
Yes.
an IQ issue. Like the families had to take care of him, and therefore that's why he couldn't tell the family. The minute he said she has 3 kids, and they're like, "Get out of there," she lied. Come home. He's like, "I have to do what my family says."
That's true.
And it's like you're pushing 40.
Yeah.
That's what makes me think he is
Maybe
not
he
right.
is, yeah.
And then look how he's cuddling with her.
Yeah.
It's like he's
And then
her
he
4th
cried
son,
and collapsed on the floor.
crying and being a bee. I don't even know that he deals with that many bees. Like, I think he just can, like, take out the vent and, like, brush him off.
Yeah.
I don't think he's, working at the bear factory where they go
I
in the
just don't
honey bear.
understand why she would be with him. They can't even communicate. They're talking to each other through their cell phone.
I think her being a mother of 3 boys has put her over the edge. And the minute somebody was like, I'm into you, she was just like ready to go for it. She wanted that love so much. I mean, it looks like all the boys might have the same father, but maybe they don't. So maybe she's been burned more than a number of times.
Mhm.
She's completely alone. I have 2 boys. It's not like you get a lot of like affirmation. So,
Yeah,
it's like I
Steve's
wake
mom
up.
has 2 sons, and they never even call her. I mean, I feel so bad for her. I send her more things than they do.
Well, that's the goal is when you have boys that hopefully they marry someone or get with someone nice so that you can, I mean, right now I love my sons, but I'm just saying, like, I understand why a single mother
Would wanna put a family together.
Yeah, will maybe
Yeah.
choose the wrong guy because you're just like, oh my God, I just want that adult time. I mean, to have every night without a
Mhm.
partner while you're raising those kids, it's really could be lonely.
Mhm.
So she found him through the bee community and brought him out here. And now, I mean, they're still in love, but he can't speak English. And look, I can't speak another language either. I would
Mm-mm.
die if I woke up and I was in Turkey.
Oh, yeah, that'd be terrible.
Any country. I don't want to learn another language. It's like the last thing I want to do. So I don't want to be critical of it, but it would make it very hard. Oh my God. We're going to get back to that in a minute. Hold on. Let me go back to the cast.
Yeah.
Where's the
Do you
whole
watch
cast?
Pillow Talk?
Yes, I like the Pillow Talk.
Me
I think
too.
it's really fun, and I like that
I'm surprised David and Annie are
they
going
came on
strong.
my show.
They
David
did?
and Annie are extremely compatible.
Yeah, they get along great, and
They
they're
get
so
along
entertaining
great, and
on Pillow Talk.
he is smart enough to realize this is like a great gig, and they're going to milk it and parlay it for as long as they can. And I say good for him. Like
Yeah.
they're entertaining.
Yeah.
Okay, this beautiful girl, Juliana, and
Okay,
Michael,
that's
and Sarah, the former
the wife.
ex-wife, who married them and is her best friend.
Yeah. Well, okay. She is like a child. She reminds me of like a 14.
Well, she's only 21.
But she reminds me of like a 14, 15-year-old, and
Yeah.
he is so much older than her. I think it's gross. It just repulses me. She's like, what is a prenuptial agreement?
What is the what?
Prenuptial agreement. I don't know about the prenup.
But I felt for her when she cried on the reunion. She goes, I was so excited to tell my family that I got the visa and I was going to leave Brazil. But they all say such horrible things to me because I cannot take them all with me. And I was their only hope. And they don't love me. And then Bryson's like, that's hate right there. That's a hater. And she's like, yeah, I guess I have the haters. And then
Sarah bugs me.
I think
She tries to stir up drama.
I think, see, I disagree.
Really?
I think Sarah is the hero in all of this because she was smart enough to realize, like, I don't want your weird, what sounds to me is they got married. He got money. They got money, but he was making it.
Mhm.
He changed. He maybe got his teeth whitened. He got some better outfits. She remained Sarah. No makeup. Like, I don't even think she puts like concealer on her nose. Like, and it's a reunion. I'm like, there is a makeup department there. They could have like added some mascara. That's fine. But like her vibe has not changed. She's like, and so she was just like, whatever. And then he gets this girl and she's just probably like, hey, look, I knew he was going to end up with like a hooker like bimbo, whatever. And at least this girl is sweet. And
She's sweet and
seems
she's
to
sweet to
like,
the
and
kids.
seems to like my kids.
Yeah.
So I would rather be sweet and give her no reason to leave, where then my kids will miss her again. So I think she's like, look,
You like her.
yeah, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna be smart about it because I don't want him in his. I mean, I never want him back. So like, have him, and as long as all the relationship is good, then I'll continue to get my child support payments or whatever from him because I still don't think is like got a big career. So I think she was smart about it.
Okay. I can see your point.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of her, though. I think she brings up things to stir up drama.
I think she liked being on TV too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they featured the kids.
I don't want to see the kids on a tell-all, though. I could
Yeah.
do without that. It's like seeing a kid in a casino. They don't belong there. You want to be able to have the edgy drama.
Yeah, we can see them at the wedding. We didn't
Yeah.
need them to be backstage eating the free Cheetos and then
Yeah.
walking out.
And then sitting there going, and they asked the little boy, what advice would you give the couples? Why is a 10-year-old boy giving advice?
Well,
about
then he said,
relationships?
I hope that they all have more,
They get to study the other person's culture.
yes.
Okay.
Well, that was kind of nice, but I'm like, but if I was the American, I'd be like, oh, shut up. I don't want to learn the culture or the language. I'm giving you America. Why do I have to learn anything? Stupid kid. But all the foreigners, like Sasha, the Russian, was like, good, smart boy.
Yeah.
Smart boy, learn how to make the Russian meals. Sasha, when you come home from working 10 days and take care of fat baby. Now make me a Russian meal, wife, while I do these bicep curls. You said you hate Natalie and Mike.
Natalia.
Oh, Natalia.
Because she's a drama queen. And she just constantly wants him to chase her. And, she's always she fights with him. And then she runs, storms out of the room. And she wants him to come after her. And he doesn't.
This is what I think. I think it should end because she's going to be real disappointed when she gets to that farm and has to hang out with the weird uncle.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of them just think America is Los Angeles or New York City or
Right.
Miami.
Right.
And then they get to Nebraska where the beekeeper is or this guy's farm. Yeah, it's America, but what restaurants are there? Like, it's not fun. It's like, you got to, when in choosing, listen,
And he has no money.
I don't have a big international audience, but if I am listening to one and you're pursuing someone in America so you can get on 90 Day Fiancé and eventually get on the show, you have to pursue people in big cities. You will be disappointed. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
it will not be fun on some farm where you have to wake up and like milk the cows or
plus,
whatever.
She's
That's
also
a lot of work.
She's also super religious. And
Right.
he doesn't believe in God.
No,
That's
it's
never
not
going to
gonna
work.
It's never going to work. Well, Lisa, I really enjoyed talking to you. Oh, we
It's-
don't care about Tangent and Sinjin. What's her name?
No,
Tanya and Sinjin. They're
she-
super boring, and I don't care about them.
They're a little boring, yeah. And she told him he wasn't her soulmate, and that was weird.
Well, I do think the soulmate. There was a conversation where they said, "Are you each other's soulmate?" She goes, "No, this kid I met in 5th grade is my soulmate,"
Yeah,
which was weird.
yeah.
And I already met him.
My first love.
But
yeah.
I think that she goes, "But I think you can have other soulmates." But I'm not sure that you're even the top 5. Like
yeah,
it was
no, I know.
very strange, and I think that.
On national television.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was kind of interesting. Like, what is a soulmate anyway? I mean, people come in your life at different times for different reasons.
I
and-
asked Steve if we were soulmates today.
Yeah,
He goes, "We'll
just
see."
today? Wow.
And I go, "We'll see." And he goes, "When we get to heaven." He was joking, and
Right.
I said, "Well, no, it's determined here on Earth." And he goes,
Ask that girl and see what Abraham says.
Oh, Esther Hicks.
Yeah,
You're going to get into them.
I probably will. Lisa, tell everybody where they can find you if they're interested in checking out your shows or going to your school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my website is prettyfunnywomen.com. And then I'm at prettyfunnywomen on Instagram.
Awesome.
So please follow me. I would love that.
Great.
Thank you so much for having me on, Heather.
I
It's
love
so
you,
good
girl.
to see
It's
you.
so good to see you too.
I've
Bye.
missed you.
Miss you too.